What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Ladies, Leans, Likes, and Locks NFL Week 9. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. It goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Friends, Week 9 is upon us, basically just past the halfway point of this regular season. 17 games for everybody. It's wild. The commissioner needed that extra one. So this is the halfway point. Technically, we got games going on in Germany. Oh, that's so nice. We also have some other things that we're going to be firing up, like the evening. Again, just 12 games going. A couple teams on the bye, the 49ers. Well, Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown. He's not going to score a touchdown this week for everybody, but I missed those because those are free. Anyway, let's get ourselves to the picks here pretty early, but Bet365, I'll talk about them a little bit later. Only available in 6 states: Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Colorado, and Iowa. Great stuff. You can bet $5, get $150 in bet credits at the link below. That is awesome. Again, I have nothing else to talk about here on the front end. NBA Lindy's is in full effect. MLB Lindy's just put the capstone on that. The World Series, congratulations to the Rangers. Feel like I haven't said that yet. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that anyway. Producer Jacob, let's feel better, my guy. We got to get some sleep over this weekend. It's Friday. It's time. Let's get to the picks. I have one lock on today's slate. It's, of course, from this game. The very first game going on. Kegs and eggs in the morning if you're out on the West Coast, that's for sure. But we got the Kansas City Chiefs, the Miami Dolphins here in this one, kicking off at 9:30 Eastern time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. You get the big news, which is everybody's healthy. This is fantastic. Everybody's healthy. The only guy who's out is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and that wasn't really going to matter anyway because they can just do enough with McKinnon, do enough with Pacheco. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have to worry about anything. I'm excited because we get to see these teams at full strength. But I know it says minus 130 on the side of your screen. We have a line that just dropped and dipped a little bit, and this is a market-based approach. This is simply pulling up Odd Shopper, having your spreadsheet, having the power ranking, and then deciding why the hell are the Kansas City Chiefs only minus 125 here against the Miami Dolphins. Now, their defense is getting a lot healthier. That is going to be in the question and in the case for the Miami Dolphins. Getting Xavier Howard, getting everybody. Jalen Ramsey gets the pick. Almost had the pick field goal. That was kind of funny from Mike McDaniel, not going to lie. But this is a Miami defense that is just significantly worse, I still believe, than that of the Kansas City Chiefs. So straight up, now tell me, do you really want to love me forever? Oh. When you're caught in the hit and run, we're talking defense, 10th and 8th and both teams are 6-2. This is going to be the showcase. Absolutely you got to wake up for it. It's not Jacksonville playing some crap team, although Jacksonville Buffalo, that was one that I thought most people would be waking up early for. You will be watching this football game more than likely. And I will absolutely be betting on Kansas City here in this spot. Now, I don't know if Taylor Swift's going to fly there. I don't give a shit. I don't care. God forbid they talk about it on the telecast. But we're going to talk about Kansas City here with the Super Bowl pedigree, with all of their pieces healthy outside of a guy in CEH who really hasn't worked out for them as well. They get McCole Hardman back into the mix. They can rotate through about 5-6 guys, and Kadarius Toney, thank God, he has mercilessly been taken off the field more and more. I think this is definitely all systems go to back Kansas City. Yes, Miami, they're getting healthier. Yes, Miami, they're the offensive darling here, but Patrick Mahomes is a 2-time MVP, a Super Bowl 2-time champion for many reasons. One of them is I feel like I should just be able to trust him every single time going overseas here, firing up one football game and flying back. It's a business trip. Let's go. Patrick Mahomes to the moon. Kansas City, I don't understand this line, why it's not minus 150, minus 155. How is this not getting flooded on the Kansas City side of things? I don't understand. I will be flooding it. Minus 124 over on FanDuel as it stands right now. Best available line. Go get it now before it's too late. Kansas City gets it done. Money line to the moon. Lock it. Game number 2, and I'm a heartbroken, crestfallen, absolutely broken Minnesota Vikings fan because, of course, everything starts going well. We go into Lambeau. We march up and down the field. We make it an absolute scrimmage. We make Green Bay our you-know-whats. And Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles. We now have Josh Dobbs on our team as a backup. Cool. Why do I even do this? Like, why am I a fan of a team? I'm a fan of the team that I bet on the most. But like, I'm always going to be a Minnesota Viking fan, and my parents have ruined my life before it even started. But Jaron Hall going to be enacted as duty here. BYU rookie Puka Nacua is pretty good. Just going to throw it out there. Makes him look a little worse in hindsight. Now, he had all of 4 pass attempts, 3 completions. Pretty low 8 out there, just 5.8 per catch there as well. He had the fumble. That was not good. Not his fault. Still. I don't even know what to say about this one, but they're not the only team in this game here facing Atlanta that opened with a new quarterback. Yes, Taylor Heineke going to be enacted to duty as Desmond Ridder was sent to the Shadow Realm, never to be heard from again. It didn't really work out. Gets benched at halftime. They lose 28-23 to Tennessee, and it's strange to me because he was coming off one of his best games against Tampa Bay. If you exclude the fumble problem, he had 3 of those, but once he fumbled again, that was it. That was over. Arthur Smith was not having any of it, just like he doesn't have anything with the fantasy sports community. Go check out those clips. Just tell us if Bijan Robinson's sick. It doesn't give you a competitive advantage. Shut up. But anyway, Taylor Heineke, we've seen him with the Washington football team. Yes, before they were the Commanders. He was decent enough there. Kind of likes to go out and sling it. He was really good in the second half of that game against Tennessee. I mean, he was far more competent than Desmond Ridder was. I think this is a spot where Taylor Heineke could throw it a little bit more than expected. Now, Arthur Smith, he's a noted guy who goes out, likes to establish the run often and early. He goes out and, again, I think the GM had more to do with the Bijan Robinson pick, but what do I know? Arthur Smith, friends, he's going to go out and just pound the rock. 41.7% of their plays over the course of the season have been running plays, and that should be enough here against a Minnesota team to potentially, I don't know, be successful to a certain extent. But Taylor Heineke, I think Minnesota's defense has been playing better and better, which is why I'm even more crestfallen than I would have been before. We're now 4-4. We're in draft purgatory, so we might as well play to win. But I think that Atlanta definitely is the rightful favorite here in this one. Pretty efficient spread as it stands at 4. Again, if you got in on Atlanta -1, yay, congrats to you. I wasn't ever going to do that in a million years. But Taylor Heineke, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Nearly 2-1 on your money right now, plus 185 at DK. Think you're going to have an opportunity here. Drake London is out for this one, but Ken, that's going to make this very one-dimensional. They're not going to be able to just jam the rock down Minnesota's throat. So Kyle Pitts, pretty decent anytime touchdown candidate. Mac Hollins, pretty decent anytime touchdown candidate. Can't possibly say Van Jefferson's name. We've been shorting him all year, even with the Rams. So we're going to say Taylor Heineke over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Best available bet from this game right now, but it's a disturbing one to say the least. A game with actually a point higher total than the previous one, even though the previous one is in a dome. Now we're going to the dog pound here in Cleveland. And Arizona taking on Cleveland. Word on the street is Kyler Murray is questionable for this football game, and he boarded the plane to Cleveland. I assume he's going to be out, but in the event that he's not, Clayton Tune, who I know jack diddly squat other than what I was taught like today. I don't know. Did some research, watched a couple of his throws. I don't know. He was really good at Houston. He's really good. College QB there. This is not Houston, just throwing it out there. This is going to be Cleveland, the best defense in football here over the last few weeks. Made their team relevant here, even in the absence of Deshaun Watson. And wouldn't you know it, Deshaun Watson off the injury report for this football game. He joins the fray here. Not the band. Joins the fray, though. Very excited to watch him back in action. Hopefully, this arm and the shoulder issue is feeling a lot better. It must be. Or he's just a little you-know-what. I think you know what I mean when I say a little you-know-what, right? We're just keeping it PC here in the streets. But obviously, Kyler Murray, I don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. But I do think over 38.5 is kind of in play when you start talking about an Arizona team that, yeah, they're going to be also without DeMercado. He's not going to be suiting up here for this one. Probably going to be a healthy dose of Keontae Graham in the backfield. You've got Michael Wilson questionable for this one. You've got Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray. That was the connection early on at the beginning of last season. I'm leaning towards 38.5. And hey, if Arizona gets their absolute face beat in, Cleveland defense puts up points, which is a wild thing to say out loud. Had enough pick sixes and scoop it scores and all that stuff. Again, did just have one on the season, but over the course of the last 2 years, their defense who can create those kind of turnovers, and obviously turnovers that create short fields for their offense. Cleveland, they're a fully operational Death Star, minus like Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, whatever. We got Arizona here. I would be looking at taking the points if Kyler Murray was here at plus 10. Doubt you're going to be getting to that one if that is the case, but lots of news, questionable here. Over 38.5, just a lean right now. One of the hardest things to explain is how one thing can be negatively correlated to another thing, but both can be good bets, especially when there's like a break-even point on something where if you have a little bit more invested on one side of it, you're going to be okay on the other side of it. I guess I should kind of explain myself. We've got the Rams, we've got Green Bay. Rams, massive piece of news. This is kind of the theme of this slate, this ugly Week 9 slate. A lot of quarterback injuries. Matthew Stafford, injury to his finger. He is one of the tougher guys, though, in the entire NFL. Played in the NFC North against my Vikings forever. The guy would get completely knocked out and come back into football games and act as if nothing happened. And then you'd watch the replay, and it's like, that rib left his body. Why is he playing football? Oh, yeah, because he's a sick person like most NFL quarterbacks. You got to be a little crazy to just sit there, know that you're a sitting duck, and have to like chuck it while guys are going for your knees. Or less your knees now. Now it's more of like sternum, ribs flying, and that whole thing. It's like a fatality. Get over here. A little bit of that. But my big thing is Green Bay. Aaron Jones. There are some quotes from Matt LaFleur that kind of paint a picture that Aaron Jones could be a bell cow back, in my opinion. And I've always believed that Aaron Jones, again, in that NFC North, facing my Vikings all the time, is one of the more talented running backs in football. I really miss McCarthy for that. He is now running Tony Pollard into the ground, not doing anything with him, so that's cool. At least we've kept his anytime touchdowns off the boards after the first 2 weeks when we're like, nope, rid ourselves of that. Thanks for coming. Have a nice day. But I am looking at Aaron Jones anytime touchdown numbers because I do believe with no injury designation and this hamstring injury kind of in the rear view, I think we might look at a fully operational Aaron Jones here where he plays 70, 75, 80% of the snaps. And that would be insane. He's going to be a contrarian piece for DFS. He's going to be somebody that I'm looking at to back in a lot of props. If we can get some improved numbers, I'm kind of waiting for him to stabilize. But the one that has stabilized is that anytime touchdown plus 160. But the whole thing I'm getting at is that is negatively correlated with the play that I think is actually the best from this game. And that is the under of 38.5. Now, Aaron Jones, there's a lot of situations where he scores a touchdown or two, and you still see this game finish 14-7, 14-3, things of that nature. But I think Brett Rypien ends up being the starter more than likely. The Rams have a bye next week. I think this is just a very uncertain spot. Now, Matthew Stafford, again, he is a dude. He will do everything he possibly can to play in this football game. Will he be effective? I don't know. Brett Rypien, I can tell you, though, is not an effective quarterback based on anything we've seen from him at the professional level. So this really has me thinking that this 38.5 is middled. If you get Stafford in, I'm probably in a little bit of trouble. 38.5, 39.5. Although the left side of that offensive line, hey, who told you? Dallas. Of course, they pull up. They end up having a scoop and score there, a situation where Micah Parsons goes completely ballistic. But, of course, he's not the one who gets the touchdown. They have the pick six situations. I mean, Dallas's defense is really, really good. And the Rams' left side of the offensive line is still a problem, in my opinion. Don't know if Green Bay has necessarily the pieces to extract any kind of value out of that. Not going to be looking at doing the same thing we did there with Dallas. But I think this is an ugly one. Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, not quite playing for their jobs, but kind of playing for their jobs. Under 38.5, I like it. Think Aaron Jones I also like because he is very good at opening up the field for everybody involved. Good Lord Almighty. Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders heading to New England here to take on the Patriots, who I don't even know who we're looking at in terms of a wide receiver core, but it is ugly. You got Kendrick Bourne. Poor guy, started playing really, really good, ends up dinging up his knee, season-ending ACL tear for him. Devontae Parker officially out for this one, and Tyquan Thornton dinged up, hasn't really been on the field anyway, has all of 2 catches for 8 yards this season. we're looking at a healthy dose of Demario Douglas, Juju Smith-Schuster, who didn't even see the field until Kendrick Bourne got hurt, Ty Montgomery, Jalen Reagor, who goes from the Philadelphia Eagles, gets picked the pick before Justin Jefferson. Oopsie. Could you imagine A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith? Obviously, I don't think they get Devonta Smith in the event that they take Justin Jefferson there, but that's beside the point. Oopsie. Jalen Reagor goes to the Vikings for a hot second, then now ends up in New England. That is your wide receiver core. Looked at Hunter Henry. I think Hunter Henry has to be a big part of this passing game plan for the New England Patriots going up against Washington, but Washington gets rid of both of their prolific pass rushers in Sweat and in Chase Young there at the deadline. Chase Young, how does this happen? How does Sweat end up with Chicago? That's stupid. And how does Chase Young get allowed to join the San Francisco 49ers? I don't know. They're on a bye. They're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Finger. Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. That's going to be the 49ers. But we have to take advantage of Ramondre Stevenson here in lack of a pass rush here. I do still think Ramondre Stevenson is a talented running back out of Oklahoma. He's had his fair share of problems, one of which being them signing Ezekiel Elliott. That's not going to help your production because somehow, some way, football coaches think he's efficient or good, and he is neither of those things. But Ramondre Stevenson has to be involved in the passing game for any kind of success here in this spot. They are so diluted there, and considering the familiarity Ramondre Stevenson has with the offense over the course of the last 2 years, I think this is a spot where we have to be invested in his passing prowess. He still has 25 catches for 173 yards on the season. Now, that's not a lot. That's right around 30 per game. But that's a lot higher than what his receiving prop sits at 21.5. This was a near lock type play for me. It's sitting at standard minus 110, standard VIG there over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So, like, take the over. Again, Jacoby Myers, should have re-signed him. Kendrick Bourne, out. Tyquan Thornton, not panning out. Juju Smith-Schuster, dust. Where else do you throw the football? I don't know, but I'm willing to invest in Ramondre Stevenson at this kind of a number. How about investing at this number? $5 into 150 in bonus bets. Now, it's only available in 6 states here at Bet365. We got Virginia, Kentucky, New Jersey, Ohio, Kentucky. Sorry, I said Kentucky already. Colorado and Iowa. Hey, there we go. Kind of just fucked that up. But you know what? We're going to keep going. Kentucky, Virginia, Ohio, New Jersey, Colorado, Iowa. Congratulations if you live in one of those 6 states because you bet 5, you get 150 in bonus bets. It's really as simple as that. You go to the link below, you bet $5 when you deposit $5, $10, $20, $50, doesn't matter what you deposit. You bet $5 though on anything, and when you do, you get 150 in bonus bets. That's a ridiculous deal over at Bet365. Again, just available in 6 states. But congratulations, because the most you could possibly be out is $5 and those 150 in bonus bets if things go completely awry. But 5 into 150 is a phenomenal deal here. Yes, in bonus bets. Yes, there's a small little playthrough that you have here. But Bet365, friends, is one of the most reputable sports books you have in the entire world, let alone in this lovely nation of ours. So bet 5, get 150 in bonus bets in Kentucky, Virginia, Iowa, Colorado, New Jersey, and Ohio. Only for 21 and over, 18 over in Kentucky. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. Yet another horrible, disturbing quarterback matchup. We got the Chicago Bears coming off of whatever the hell we just watched them do against the Chargers with Tyson Bagent at the helm, taking on one Derek Carr, who has found a little bit of form. Looked better last week against the Colts, that's for sure. 133.3 quarterback rating, 70% completion percentage. Started throwing the ball downfield for the first time all season. Let it rip, young man. 11.5 yards per reception. By far his highest allotment since week 1 against Tennessee. 9.2 per catch there in that one. You saw the deep bomb to Rashid Shaheen. You saw Chris Olave drop one that would have been an absolute in-the-bucket 30-yard touchdown, and I'm still not recovered from that one. It would have been fun. But you've now seen him go over 300 yards, 3 consecutive, but I'm still a little bit trepidatious just because, well, Alvin Kamara. We'll talk about it here. Just giving you a little bit of look here at the Chicago side. I want nothing to do with them offensively, and yet these numbers are so low that I can't really even... It's like trying to limbo underneath a 6-inch... Like, you're not... Just not going to get under that thing unless you're like one of those crazy Gumby people. if you eat less Chipotle than me too. I used to be very skinny. Those are good days. Anyway, we're worried about football and Alvin Kamara here, my friends. This is the guy you want to be invested in. He is just, they're calling Derek Carr Captain Checkdown. Not really last week. It was nice to see him get the ball downfield, but Alvin Kamara against a Bears team here in the Dome at home. Alvin Kamara just playing Jamal Williams off the field. Williams, only 7 opportunities against the Colts last week. The week before that, only 5 opportunities. He's just not seeing any kind of volume whatsoever. Now, Jamal Williams, he's probably missing Detroit to a certain extent. No, he got paid a little bit of money here from New Orleans, and it's hard to make money here as a running back in the year of our Lord 2023, so shout out him. And he's funny. But Alvin Kamara, he's really good at catching footballs, and I think we want to look at some passing volume going his direction here. 35.5 receiving yards. Not 1, not 2, but 3 receiving yard props for freaking running backs on this card this week. It's insane how much I like running backs in this spot. Maybe part of it is that I feel like the numbers are so decrepit with passers that I don't think are all that effective. Now, Derek Carr, shout out for a good couple of weeks here, coming back after looking abysmal, but you're going to start checking it down here. Alvin Kamara, we fire this one up over 35.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at BetMGM. Good enough for me. God, I thought I would find something from this one. Shout out the call about Gus Edwards last week, making sure that we shorted Lamar Jackson in some capacity. Talked about that on every DFS program. Talked about it here on this program a little bit. But I'm focused in here on Lamar Jackson being able to do whatever he wants to do against a Seattle secondary that I don't find all that appealing. Now, Seattle has had a pass rush the last couple weeks. They've been able to get after it, but you had PJ Walker, a sitting duck. You had Daniel Jones, a sitting duck. I'm not going to look too far into that one. You've seen Zach Charbonnet start to take over more and more snaps. First time, he saw a little bit more of the workload than Kenneth Walker. Now, Kenneth Walker did enter last week with a calf injury that made him a little bit limited. I'm staying away from that. That just feels like a trappy spot, but I was inclined to fire up some Zach Charbonnet in my life. We've just seen Pete Carroll play the hot hand too many times over the course of his career to try to make this a stand. I'm Rashad Penny days with Kenneth Walker at the beginning of last year, not knowing who's going to do what and when they're going to do what. And I just think you stay away from that in general. We've seen the Baltimore secondary be very, very prolific, although DK Metcalf over on OddsShopper was something that was popping a little bit here. But this is something else that I did snag from OddsShopper, but I'm just going to call it a lean here. It has, I believe it was a 3% expected value last time that I looked, but Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns, similar to that Taylor Heineke play. I think you're looking at plus 145 being a little bit too high for me here against a Seattle secondary that I'm still not a big believer in. I don't think this pass rush is going to continue against better offensive line in Baltimore. They got that. Lamar Jackson, I think he gets things done here against the secondary. They're 6-point favorites against I'm going to call Seattle decent. I'm not going to call them good by any means, but this is a spot where Lamar Jackson, coming off of last week, it was all Gus Edwards. I think it goes right back to the Lamar show in this one. To another one of my favorite plays on the slate here right now, and this number was a little bit better Friday morning, a little bit. I was able to get this at plus 150, but what am I talking about? We're talking about a running back of all things between these two teams. No, not Rachaad White, but Tampa Bay 3-point dogs here entering Houston. Times they are changing. Houston up as a 2.5-point favorite. CJ Stroud, we've seen a little bit of regression from him, but Tank Dell is back out there again. I think another week of health for him. That is going to help their rapport. We only saw 4 targets go his way. Wasn't on the field as much as you were hoping against Carolina. Carolina gets their first win. And Nico Collins, very disappointing output there from him. 6 targets, 4 catches, just 30 yards receiving. Thought that there was a really good chance against Carolina's secondary there. You could see a big Nico Collins spot, but they get back home here. Tampa Bay been a little bit better against the run here of late. And that's where I think we might be able to look at some CJ Stroud props, but I'm actually looking at the running game and Devin Singletary. I also think he's going to be quite involved in the passing game here for Houston. Big news of this game, Dameon Pierce out. You're going to hear about this all the time, I'm sure, in DFS streets and then also in your year-long fantasy leagues. Devin Singletary should be picked up by somebody for this game and this game alone. Without Dameon Pierce out there, you're looking at a very thin situation of Mike Boone, who once upon a time with the Broncos, and then you've got Daria Gumbawale, who used to play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here, also with the Houston Texans. Doubt he gets much work at all. More of a special teamer, so he might get called up as somebody to just be there as a third string emergency running back, but Devin Singletary will get a lot of the work. Mike Boone will not. You really haven't seen him on the field. He's only had 1 rush attempt in 3 separate games for a total of 3 rushes on the season. That is not going to be ideal, but that creates opportunity for us to receive a plus 135 and say, thank you so much for this. Again, a 40 total. It's not that low relative to some of these other games, 37.5, 38.5 on the board because of how bad the quarterback play is. I think Devin Singletary is a really good investment here. Again, plus 150. It's now sitting at plus 135 in the aftermath of Dameon Pierce being he's not there. But you are starting to see Devin Singletary worked in as the RB1 as is. So it's not a drastic move, but a move I still like here. Plus 135. Let's fire it up for the anytime touchdown marketplace. I hate when you get something right and you don't get paid for it, but it is what it is. We have Carolina in Indy. I'll start on the Indy side where Jonathan Taylor now seeing the massive majority of snaps here between him and Zach Moss, even though Zach Moss continuing to be really good as just a complimentary back here. And Jonathan Taylor, he got paid. You don't pay a running back 10 plus million a year and not expect him to get a majority of the work. So that was always down the pipeline as he got acclimated to the offense. Last week was the first time, 61% of snaps there for Jonathan Taylor, just 39% for Zach Moss. The tables have turned, Mr. Powers. But yeah, first time he's played over 50% of snaps, Jonathan Taylor on the entire season. Looks pretty good doing it. But a small favorite here, I would favor the Indy side of this one here, but we're going to look actually at the Carolina side here with a running back situation of their own. And Frank Reich gave everybody the absolute gift of a lifetime to play Chuba Hubbard over receiving plus rushing, because you knew Chuba Hubbard was going to get all of the work based off of all of the quotes last week. And yet nobody talked about it. And Carolina ended up in a positive game script and they end up winning the football game. And yet, despite 66% of the snaps there for Chuba Hubbard yet again, and only 20% of the snaps for Miles Sanders, he didn't do anything with them. And it was so frustrating for me. It really, really hurt. Again, I like to be right about certain things, but you can't go out and do anything about it once you... Again, he got all the opportunities, 17 total opportunities, 15 rushes for only 28 yards. But you go through the advanced analytics, and he is a way better rusher of the football, a way better pass catcher of the football than that of Miles Sanders. He is going to be a 65, 70, 75% of snap running back going forward. It is already announced now that he's going to start this week, whereas last week it was, hey, we're going to have a committee, and you had Miles Sanders for a snap, and then it was all Chuba Hubbard. So, want this on high alert for you. This is a really good spot. Said that I have a lot of overs on Chuba Hubbard, or on a lot of overs on running back plays in general. This is another one where I just think you get Bryce Young, as he's really started to, he has not ascended at all. He has not looked good in the pocket whatsoever. But last week, 71% of passes he ended up completing. A lot of little dump offs to, well, not to him, but to Adam Thielen show, Jonathan Mingo. Come on now, stop it. But you're looking at passing defense for Indy, giving up nearly 250 yards through the air per game. A lot of that to running backs. Think this is a Chuba Hubbard spot. This is way too low. 12.5 receiving yards. Going to be on the field the majority of the time. Click, like, going up. Next game. 3 games to go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell as we talk a little Giants taking on the, well, who's going to coach the Raiders on Sunday? Well, you, me? Can we do like a call in and coach thing? Josh McDaniels fired. Oakland Raiders coach. Who is this? You got rid of the GM. You got rid of him. Bo Hardegree gonna take over the offensive coordinator duties. That's cool. Why did the Raiders coach get fired? Because he sucks. Josh McDaniels is a terrible football coach. Anyway, Google. That's always fun. It's always fun to do that here on a show. But I will say part of the reason that I didn't have to do that is my play is on the Giants side. And really every time I look over at Vegas, starting Aiden O'Connell in this one, I get a little bit scared of being a nobody. So it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway. Let's talk the Giants here. Daniel Jones getting back into the mix here, which thank God, because did anybody watch Tommy DeVito play quarterback? -1 yards passing. This is like, I don't know. I feel like Navy, was it Navy or Army that just runs the ball every single play, no matter whether they're up 35 or down 35? Producer Jacob, let me know. Let the people know. Do you know which one it is? Google it for me. Army or Navy. It was literally the most ridiculous thing ever. Saquon Barkley. I mean, what are we doing here to have -1 passing yards? Anyway, Daniel Jones comes back. He has not been all that good, but he's not going to have 1 yard passing here, although he has had 2 outings. One against Dallas, just 104 yards passing. Miami, just 119 yards passing. And you lose Darren Waller. That's not ideal. You got Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt. You got Saquon Barkley going to have to get mixed in as well. But one of them stands out for me, and it's Wan'Dale Robinson. He's a short yardage, dink and dunk type wide receiver. And I think that is something that against Vegas with Max Crosby on one side, you have to be utilizing early and often to get Daniel Jones acclimated into this game. I don't think Saquon Barkley, I think there's going to be a lot of people scheming to try to take that away. Although Vegas, they're in shambles. They just lost to Chicago and Tyson Bagent, who then went and played it's the Army running the triple option. Producer Jacob's the absolute best. But we'll say this is a spot where Wan'Dale Robinson also too low. Way too many overs for my comfort here. But part of it is that these numbers are so low. It is one of the more disgusting offensive weekends ever. So nothing like investing on overs, right? Oh, we're in shambles. Oh, I'm fucked. Oh, yeah, it's painful. Over 35.5 receiving yards here for Wan'Dale Robinson. Click. What's your favorite Disney movie? It's a question. You could put it in the comment section below. I'm just curious because my favorite Disney movie of all time, part of me wants to say Coco. That's a phenomenal movie. Every time he shows the picture to the grandma, it's like insta tears. But my favorite Disney movie of all time is Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes, I confirm call that a Disney movie. It's phenomenal. It's a nearly perfect movie. Almost Famous is a perfect movie. Gladiator is a perfect movie, but Pirates of the Caribbean is probably one of the more like commercialized Johnny Depp. Oh, really bad eggs. You know, one of those ridiculous things. What you know about parlay? Parlay time. I don't know much about parlay. I don't parlay a whole hell of a lot here on this program, but I got one for you here because if you're looking for offense, a 47 total out of this one is the best you're going to find other than that Kansas City-Miami game here. So it is what it is. We got Buffalo, Cincinnati coming up with offense later too, but that's beside the point. This one, I feel pretty confident that Dallas is going to be able to carve up Philadelphia through the air. And let's talk through the reasons why. Might be able to do the opposite on the other end here as well, but Philadelphia been surprisingly bad against top wide receiver options here over the course of the last couple of weeks. In fact, 31 points you just gave up to Sam Howell, Terry McLaurin, and company coming into town there. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Now, they continue to get healthier, and the big piece, you get Jalen Carter back. Jalen Carter is extremely important to the complexion of this Eagles team. He is confirmed ready to rock. And then on the Cowboys side, you got on the IR, Diggs, of course, you lose that cornerback spot. You got Smith, who's going to be questionable entering this game from the tackle spot. That is an important one to pay attention to. But Landon Vander Esch going to be on the IR for the foreseeable future. Goodwin, another cornerback on the IR. Philadelphia could be getting some offense going in one direction. Not the band. Offense in one direction. But the 7-1 Eagles, I'm calling for an upset here in this one. I think the Cowboys have the right skill players to be able to get after it here against this Philadelphia secondary that I'm not going to call it piecemeal because they still have a lot of really good pieces. But as you look in their base coverage with Bradbury and Slay, both of them are outside of the top 50 in projected cornerback play at PFF. We're talking about James Bradbury, who's supposed to be a dude. We're talking about Darius Slay, who's supposed to be a dude. If it weren't for Blankenship playing awesome roaming safety out there in the back, they would have nothing there. Now, they do have Reddick, Cox, Sweat, and then, of course, you get Carter back into the pass rush situation, into the run stuffing situation. And yeah, they got a pass rush, but that's where Smith & Smith, the law firm of Smith & Smith on the left side of this offensive line, could play huge in this football game. If you have time, you're going to see CeeDee Lamb get absolutely everything he wants out of the slot. You saw it last week. I don't think anything changes here whatsoever this time around. And I know that it might be a little chasey in some people's eyes because CeeDee Lamb hadn't been putting up crazy production by any means, but coming off of 14 targets against the Rams, it's not going to get diminished to like 6, 7, 8. He should be able to get whatever he wants. And on the road here in Philly, it's going to be rocking. It's a divisional matchup, but I trust Dallas's offense to be able to get whatever they want through the air with Dak Prescott. And it's terrifying because Dak Prescott, I don't think is very good. But that's how bad this secondary has been playing for Philadelphia. So get the ball out of your hands fast. That was the key against the Rams. Avoid Aaron Donald being able to do wrecking ball things, and you're in a good spot. Dak Prescott, short yardage throws to CeeDee, ends up throwing, 80.6% of his passes for completions, 25 for 31, ends up going absolutely nutties. I think he goes nutties again. 248.5 passing yards, plus CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown, plus Dallas money line. I'm kind of in love with this combination. Again, it is 248.5 passing yards. That is not very many. Not very many. Dallas loses. Go ahead and come after me. It's fine. But half a unit I have on this parlay. What you know about parlay? I know more now. One more game with scoring. We bookend it. We got a 50 total at the beginning. We have a 50 total at night. Thank God we might have a good set of island games on this Sunday. I say that knowing full well that 17-3 is incoming in both of these mother truckers, and it's going to suck. But there's hope. Hope. Drive a man mad. Little Shawshank Redemption, also kind of like a nearly perfect movie. Let me know your favorite movie below. I always like to know people's top fives. Top five. Anyway, Buffalo opened at 1.5 point favorites. They get Leonard Fournette, which I don't give a flying F about, but like, cool. That's neat. I mean, it's been bad lately. I'm not going to lie. Josh Allen has not looked good in any way, shape, or form. Won a close one there at home against Tampa Bay. Did just enough in that primetime game. We got to start getting him mixed in. I like seeing the 7 rush attempts the last 2 games. I was pretty confident Josh Allen needs to be running to be a fully operational Death Star for this Buffalo team. But Leonard Fournette looked like he was in pretty good shape. Again, he's just running drills at practice, doing whatever. Tavius Murray doing whatever. I mean, does Leonard Fournette end up actually getting signed up off the practice squad for this one? I don't know. They have Latavius. They have obviously James Cook, but neither have really been effective, so it is what it is. I'm looking at the Cincinnati side of this one, and they have been the better football team over the course of the last couple of weeks. Probably one of the more impressive wins in the last couple of weeks. You seen anybody else go into San Francisco and win a football game in the last couple of years? Answer no. No, you have not. Not in convincing fashion. Not like that. Sure, if we had known that Trent Williams matters a lot, but whatever. Cincinnati, friends, did a lot to create a lot of disturbances in the fours for San Francisco's passing game. And, well, Brock Purdy, he's no Josh Allen. I'm not going to go out of my way to say that. I think we can all see that very, very clearly, although my Iowa State guy deserves love. We'll hand it over to Breece Hall on Monday. We'll give him all of our love. All my love. But Cincinnati here, I think they get it done against Buffalo. They've been the better football team over the course of the last few weeks. We've also picked really opportune times to bet against Buffalo. Jacksonville, anybody? Nobody else was on the Jacksonville side of that one besides this program. Yeah, that was over in London. This is very, very different just going to Cincinnati. Anybody want to go to Cincinnati? I bet it's lovely. Maybe. Anyway, Joe Burrow looking healthier and healthier as we go along. T. Higgins, he's got to show up eventually, but Bengals, get it done. Easy game. Just a little half unit play to end out the evening. -125 at BetMGM, current best line available. Get another one of those, just a little bit better than the -130. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays for Week 9. I'm just disgusted with myself at how many overs I have on the card here right now. But you know what? It is what it is. We're going to try to find offense where there is no offense. Very excited for that. Hopefully, we can smash here in Week 9, get ourselves rocking once more. It was a decent enough week in Week 8. Nothing special. But NBA Lindy's, that's been pretty special overall over the course of the beginning of the season. Started off 8-2 with locks. They went on a 3-lock skid the last couple days, so 8-5 on those, but been pretty darn profitable in the prop streets. If you don't believe me, ask the dishes. Head down to that comment section below. Somebody from the premium Discord, I'm surely, will let you know that I don't completely suck. Although Friday, no idea how I'm doing here because we just got done recording. Producer Jacob's excited to go have a drink here and get the hell up out of here for the weekend. Great work, as always, my friend. Check out Bet365. Talked about them enough, but that link is down below if you are interested, if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please don't forget, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Off we go, friends, into the night. Gonna just all-day football on Sunday. Very excited for that one. Until next time, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets for Week 9.